Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us. The men accused in the recent deaths of two Lloydminster residents made a brief court appearance today. Both 22 years old, Kyle Halbauer and Randy O'Hagan, will remain in custody until February 12th, when a plea hearing is scheduled. Halbauer and O'Hagan are both charged with first-degree murder in the death of Brian Gower. The 35-year-old victim was fatally shot on Range Road 11 near the Willow Creek Estates, on the outskirts of Lloydminster. O'Hagan is also accused in the death of Robert Roth, whose torso was found in a rural area northeast of Ranfurly. Roth's head was discovered 5 days later in an Edmonton alley. According to police, the men are both members of the White Boy Posse, a gang that operates primarily in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and the Northwest Territories. RCMP seized dozens of wrapped baggies of cocaine from a man in Turtleford Sunday, slapping him with multiple charges. Police also seized $650 in cash. James Cull appeared in court on those trafficking charges today. Onion Lake Chief Wallace Fox is following other First Nation leaders across the country by traveling to Ottawa tomorrow to support the Attawapiskat First Nations chief as she continues her hunger strike. Chief Teresa Spence has gone 8 days without food. She says her hunger strike is in protest of Attawapiskat not receiving the 22 houses the community was promised by the government after reaching out for help to alleviate poor living conditions.
That it's a process to show to not only to her community but to the people she's willing to give up her life, to show the world that this is an atrocity that's being done to her community members.
A rally against the government on various First Nations issues is underway on Friday in Ottawa, along with one here in Lloydminster. The frigid winter weather is pushing back construction at College Park School. Work there is now 3 weeks behind schedule and won't be resuming until the new year.
Our completion date is scheduled for April 2014, and we intend on occupying it in September 2014. So there's a window of time, and it's actually worked out well in the event there would be a delay like this.
Now, despite delays, the project is still on track with its $30 million budget. Dr. Diachuk says the new school couldn't have come at a better time with a recent spike in the amount of infants and toddlers in the city. He says meeting the growth of future elementary school students is going to be tough.
We see that the growth, particularly at the kindergarten and grade 1 levels, are something that we're keeping an eye on. When we looked at the 2011 census, we see that the cohort of 0 to 4 years of age is 300 plus higher than it was in the prior census.
The K-9 school will house 475 students with a max capacity of 600 kids. What a bunch of creative kids. Back at home now, a record-breaking year for our local SPCA. On this week's Pet Project, Jenny and Allison tell us more about the success of this year's Jail and Bail and Dinner Theater.
This is Skylar. He's a 1-year-old dachshund. He's up to date on his vaccinations. He'll just need to be neutered.
Yeah, Skylar seems to be quite social here at the SPCA. We've had him out with other little dogs and they seem to get along great. As for cats, we think he might be a little too high energy to be in a home with them. He doesn't care too much for the cold weather, but who can blame him, right?
This here is Hunky. He is 2 years old. He is neutered. He's microchipped. He's up to date on his vaccinations. And he was actually abandoned here at the SPCA.
Yeah, way back in August 17th actually. So he's been waiting for a home that long, and he's such a great cat. He's so social, and he's so social that whenever we're running tight on space, we always put a kitten in his kennel with him. And he seems to be good luck because all of the cats that he's been in the kennel with seem to be getting adopted, except for poor Hunky here.
The SPCA just had their 2 biggest fundraisers, and you guys have some totals.
Yes, for our dinner theater this year, we raised $145,000. And then for our jail and bail last Thursday, if all of our pledges come in, we'll have raised $57,000, which is a record year for both of those. And those two combined support about 40% of our operational costs. Big thanks to everybody that was involved in both of those fundraisers for us. It was great to see such support from our community.
The Pet Project is sponsored by Quick Pick Waste Disposal. Locally owned and operated and serving urban, rural, and industrial customers in Lloydminster and region.